Welcome to my channel. Let's study geometry. The most practical branch of mathematics is geometry. The term geometry is derived from the Greek word geometron. It means earth measurement. Geometry means earth measurement. The fundamental element of geometry are point, line segment, line, ray, and a plane. So these all are fundamental elements of geometry. Sneha want to draw a line, so she point a dot on a paper with a pencil. This dot gives us the idea of a point. Students, when we search for a place in a map, we see a red location marker. That point are placed in Google Map as shown here. This point revert to the exact location of places. It is showing London and New Delhi. Hence, we can say that a point represents a location, a point has an exact position, a point has no dimension, that is, it has no length, breadth or thicknesses. Now students, let us see how to name a point. Points are usually named by using single capital letters. In this figure, the point P, Q and R are shown. This point as read as point P, point Q and point R. The next most important fundamental concept of geometry is a line. Here Sneha would draw a line. We can mark many points of this line and name them too. So we can say that a line is made up of infinite number of points that extend indefinitely in either direction. Sneha draw a line with arrow on both the sides. She marked 2 points A and B on the line to get the line segment. She measure and find the length of the line segment to be 5 cm. A line segment is a part of a line. It has a definite length and it has 2 endpoints. If a line segment from A to B is extended beyond A in one direction and beyond B in other, then we get a line AB, which is written like this, line segment AB. Students, what do we call the sunlight? Yes, we normally call it as sun rays. We also get the rays of light from a torch. This light gives us an idea of a rays. A rays originate from a fixed point and extend endlessly in one direction. As you can see here, point A is the fixed point and the ray are extending in one direction. If we put a point B here, we can say that this is a ray AB and this is written as ray AB. Remember, a ray has a direction. A ray cannot be drawn on a paper like a line. We can draw only a part of the ray with a starting point and one end, and an arrow on other end. The floor, the wall and the blackboard are all having plain flat surfaces. These all are some example of plane. A plane is said to be a very thin flat surface that does not have any thickness and extend endlessly in all directions. Though the plane extend endlessly, for practical purpose we represent by a portion. It may be represented in the form of rectangle, triangle and a parallelogram. We can represent a plane by 3 or more points which are not in a straight line. Remember, a plane is a flat surface that extends endlessly in all directions. A plane is represented by 3 or more points. Let us observe the two lines in the screen. The two lines CD and EF are crossing each other at point M. Such lines crossing each other are called as intersecting line. Now students, let us observe the line XY and LT. XY and LT on the screen. They do not meet at any point. Such lines are called as parallel line. Such line always has fixed distance between each other. Parallel line XY and LT are represented as XY parallel to LT. Students, do you know we can see intersecting line and parallel line in our everyday life? Example, four-way road and railway track. Now students, let's learn congruent segment. Congruent segment, if the length of two segment is equal. If the length of two segment is equal, then the two segments are congruent. If length of AB is equal to length of CD, then the segment AB is equal to segment CD. See these two parallel lines, they both are equal. They are congruent with each other. Is that clear? Length of AB is equal to length of CD. That's why they are congruent segment. Let's learn property of congruent segment. Here the three property, reflective property, symmetry property and the transitivity. The transitivity property of congruent. This property can be applied to the segment, angle and triangle or any other shape. Now here first I will explain reflective property. Reflective property of a congruence means the meaning of the reflective property of congruent is that a segment and an angle, a triangle or any other shape is always congruent or equal to itself. Always equal to itself. It should be congruent or it is equal to itself. Now here, as says here, segment AB congruent to segment AB. Here segment AB congruent to segment AB, or we can say that segment AB is equal to segment AB. Now here we can say angle A is congruent to angle A, angle B is congruent to angle B. Now let's learn symmetry property. Symmetry property of congruence. The meaning of symmetry property of a congruent is that if a figure called here A or B is congruent to, or equal to the other figure. That means if A congruent to A, B congruent to B and C congruent to C. That means then the figure B is congruent to other B, other triangle B or is equal to other shape. Okay, so they are symmetry. So here AB congruent to CD or then CD congruent to AB. AB congruent to CD and CD congruent to AB. If AB is 5 centimeter, then CD is also 5 centimeter because they both are equal. They are symmetry congruent each other. Now let's learn the other property, that is transitivity property of congruency. Now here the meaning of transitivity property of congruence is that it is a figure that called figure A here and is congruent or equal to another figure, and the figure B is equal to the congruent of another figure C. That means A congruent to B and B congruent to C. Then the figure A is also congruent or equal to the figure C. So A is equal to B, B is equal to C, and we can say here A is equal to C. Here if segment AB is congruent to CD, then CD is congruent to EF. That means AB is congruent to EF. Is that clear? Now students, in this way we learn all the three property of congruent segment. Let's learn midpoint of a segment. Now here in geometry, the midpoint is the midpoint of a line segment. Okay, now here AB is the line segment and M is the midpoint of this line segment. So here we can say that AM is equal to BM. AM is equal to BM because here we can find two endpoints, that is A and B. These two are endpoint and this M is the midpoint. So this midpoint of a line segment, M is the midpoint. It is equidistant from both the end. That means AM is equal to BM. And the centroid, both the segment and the endpoint here, there are two bisector. Now here AM bisect with BM. So here if AMB are segment AM is equal to MB. AM is equal to MB. Now then M is the midpoint of segment AB. M is the midpoint of segment AB. Every segment has one and only one midpoint. Every segment has one and only one midpoint. So here segment AB midpoint is M. So we can say that M is the midpoint of segment AB. Now students, let's learn the comparison between segments. Now here, comparison of segments, here two segments are given, they both are congruent, but they are comparatively they are different. Now here AB and CD. AB is the smaller segment AB is the smaller segment, and segment CD is the larger segment. So here we can say that segment CD is greater than segment AB. Is that clear? Segment CD is greater than segment AB, or vice versa. We can say that AB is smaller than segment CD. Is that clear? Now here, if the length of segment AB is less, if the length of segment AB is less, then the length of segment CD is written as AB is less than CD. See this, AB is less than, this symbol, as you know that this is a this represent less than. So AB less than CD. Segment AB less than CD, or we can say that segment CD is greater than segment AB. So the comparison of segment depending upon their length. Depending upon their length. So here, if AB is 5 centimeter and CD is 10 centimeter, so they are not congruent. Okay, they are not congruent. Why? Because their length is different. AB length is 5 centimeter and CD length is how much? 10 centimeters. So here they are not congruent. Why? Because AB is smaller than CD. Yes or no? So AB is less than CD and CD is greater than AB. So here comparison of segment we learn in this slide. Now students, let's learn perpendicularity of segment or rays. Here, if the lines containing two segment, that is segment AB and segment CD, two rays. So here, this is the ray. So we can see here this CD and AB are two segments. Now here, two rays or a segment are perpendicular to each other. That means we can say here that AB is perpendicular to CD. Segment AB perpendicular to line CD. Segment AB perpendicular to line CD, or we can say that segment AB perpendicular to ray CD. Segment AB perpendicular to ray CD or line CD. So if the arrow, two end arrow define line, and one end arrow and one end point define ray. So this arrow, two end arrow define line, and one end is arrow and the other end is point, that define ray. So here we can say that segment AB perpendicular to line CD and segment AB perpendicular to ray CD. Okay, ray CD. Why? Because here arrow is there and here point is there. As I teach you before that one arrow and one end is arrow and the other end is point, that define ray, and both the end is arrow, that define line. So we can say here segment AB perpendicular to line CD and segment AB perpendicular to ray CD. Is that clear? Now students, in this way we learn perpendicularity of segment or rays. Now students, let's learn distance of point from a line. If segment CD is perpendicular to line AB, see this, segment CD is perpendicular to line AB, then the point D is lie AB. Okay, line between AB. So then this point D is the midpoint. Point D is the midpoint of segment AB. Okay, so here then the length of CD is called the distance. The length of CD is called the distance of the point C from AB. Distance of C is the here C is the distance of line segment A and B. Okay, so the point D is the foot of the perpendicular segment. Here CD is the perpendicular to line AB, or we can say segment AB. So here D is the foot point. Okay, foot of the perpendicular, and this C is the distance from A and B. Okay, so here CD perpendicular to AB. So we can say that length of CD is equal to A. Length of CD is equal to A. Then the point C is the distance of A from the line AB. If we consider that this CD is A point, okay, we can take any number also. So CD is 2, that means distance from AB to C is 2 centimeter. Here we have consider A. So students, in this way we learn distance of point from a line. Now students, on the base of basic concept, let's solve practice set 1.1 question number 1. Here question number 1 carries 3 sub-questions. Let's read question number 1. So here the following table show points on a number line and their coordinate. Decide whether the pair of segments given below the table are congruent or not. So here segments are given. We have to check whether they both are congruent segment or not congruent segment. So here distance of DE and distance of AB we have to calculate. So segment DE and segment AB. Segment DE means distance of DE and segment AB means distance of AB. Now here points are given A, B, C and A, B, C, D and E. And coordinates are given -3, 5, 2, -7 and 9. A represent -3, B represent 5, C represent 2, D represent -7 and E represent 9. Students, let's solve sub-question 1. So here solution. Distance of D is -7 and E is 9. So here we will write the coordinate of point D is -7 and E is 9 respectively. So here coordinate of D is -7 and E is 9. Okay. Now here we have to check what is the distance of D and E. So here we will write as I teach you before that 9 is greater than -7. Here 9 is greater than -7. 9 is greater than -7 because 9 is positive number and -7 is the negative number. So we know that 9 is greater than -7. So here we will put segment D is equal to 9 minus -7. Okay, minus is for distance calculating. So here length of D is equal to 9 minus, this sign is for calculating distance and -7 is representing this D. So 9 minus -7. So 9 is 9 and minus into minus become plus. Minus into minus will become plus and this 7 will as it is. So 9 plus 7 we get 16. After adding this 9 plus 7 we get here 16. So distance of D is equal to 16. Now let's calculate distance of AB. Okay, length of AB we have to calculate here. Same thing we will write here. The coordinate of A is how much? -3 and E is 9. So here we will put the coordinate of A and B is -3 and 5 respectively. A is -3 and B is 5 respectively. Is that clear? In this way also you can write or in this way you can write. Both are correct. Now we know that here 5 is greater than -3. 5 is greater than -3. So we will put here 5 is greater than -3 because 5 is positive and -3 is negative. So we know that 5 is greater than -3. Positive number always greater than negative number. So 5 is greater than -3. Now here length of AB, we are calculating here length of AB. So length of AB is equal to 5 minus -3. That give us 8. So length of AB 5 minus -3. Minus into minus become plus. So 5 plus 3. After adding 5 plus 3 we get here 3. Now here we have 16. Length of D is equal to 16 and length of AB is equal to 8. Both are equal or not equal? You're right, they both are not equal because AB is 8 and D is 16. They both are not equal. So length of AB is not congruent with length of DE. So here we will put length of DE not congruent to length of AB. Since length of DE not congruent to length of AB. Length of DE not congruent to length of AB. This is small l. Okay. Length of DE is not congruent to length of AB. So segment DE not congruent to segment AB. Is that clear, students? Now students, in this way we finish question number 1, sub question 1. Let's solve sub question 2 of question number 1. Students, sub-question 2 is same like sub-question 1. Here, segment BC and AD coordinate points are given here. We have to calculate the distance of BC and AD. Okay, and after that we have to check whether they both are congruent or not. If BC is equal to AD, that means they both are congruent. So let's solve these sums. Here, B coordinate is 5 and C coordinate is 2. So first we will check the distance of BC. Okay, so segment BC, here we will put length of BC. So solution, the coordinate of B is 5 and C is 2 respectively. So the coordinate of point B is equal to 5 and C is equal to 2 respectively. Here, as you know that 5 is greater than 2. Why? Because they both are positive number. So 5 is greater than 2. We know that. Okay, 5 is greater than 2. Here we will put length of BC. Length of BC is equal to 5 minus 2. Okay, length of BC is equal to 5 minus 2. How much? 3. 5 minus 2 is 3. So here we get here length of BC is equal to 3. So segment BC is 3. Now let's calculate segment AD. Here, the coordinate of A is minus 3 and D is minus 7. The coordinate of A is minus 3 and D is minus 7. So here we will put the coordinate of A is minus 3 and D is minus 7. The coordinate of A is minus 3 and D is minus 7 respectively. Is that clear? Now here, which number is greater, minus 3 or minus 7? Now both are negative. As I told you before, negative में जो number छोटा रहता है वही number greater रहता है. So here minus 3 is greater than minus 7. Is that clear? minus 3 जो negative number है और माइनस 7 दो नेगेटिव नंबर आपके सामने है, तो इनमें से जो माइनस 3 है वो ग्रेटर नंबर है कंपेयर टू माइनस 7. ओके, सो हियर वी विल पुट minus 3 is greater than minus 7. So we know that minus 3 is greater than minus 7. Now here length of AD, we are calculating here length of AD. So length of AD is equal to minus 3 minus minus 7. Why minus 3 minus sign? Because here A represent minus 3, D represent minus 7 and one minus sign is for calculating distance. So here we will put that length of AD is equal to minus 3 minus inside bracket put minus 7 is equal to minus 3. Here minus into minus become plus, 7 का 7 लिखा. Okay. Now minus into plus is minus. Minus into plus is minus. So 7 minus 3 gives us 4. 7 minus 3 gives us 4. So here 7 is greater number and 3 is smaller number. So after subtracting we get here positive 4. Okay, because here 7 is greater. And always remember distance answer always positive, no negative. Is that clear? So here distance of AD is 4 and distance of BC is 3. So now my dear students, are they equal? Yes or no? Yes or no? Are they equal? BC is 3 and AD is 4. Are they equal? No. Why? Because they are different. BC is 3 and AD is 4. So they are not congruent. They are not equal. So here we will put length of BC is not equal to length of AD, or length segment BC is not congruent to segment AD. Is that clear? Since length of BC not equal to length of AD, this is small l, length of BC is not equal to length of AD. So segment BC not congruent to AD, segment AD. Is that clear? Students, in this way we finish practice set 1.1, question number 1, sub question 2. Now students, let's solve sub question 3. Students, sub question 3 is very simple, as you know that, as you understand how to solve sub question 1 and sub question 2. Now sub question 3 is very simple for you. Here, the same like sub question 1 and sub question 2, same trick we will apply. Segment BE and segment AD. Here coordinate points are given. we have to check whether they are equal or not. If they are equal, that means they are congruent. If they are not equal, that means they are not congruent. Subquotient 1 was not congruent, subquotient 2 was not congruent. Let's check subquotient 3 congruent or not. So here solution BE, segment BE, segment BE. So B coordinate is 5 and E coordinate is 9. B coordinate is 5 and E coordinate is 9. So here we will put solution. The coordinate of B is equal to 5 and E is equal to 9 respectively, because it is given in our question. So here solution, the coordinate of B is equal to 5 and E is equal to 9 respectively. Here, as you know that 5 is smaller number and 9 is greater number. They both are positive numbers. So 9 is greater than 5. So here we will put, we know that 9 is greater than 5. After this, here we will put length of BE. We are calculating here segment BE. For that we have to put here length of B. Length of BE is equal to, length of BE is equal to 9 minus 5, because here both are positive number. So here we will put length of B is equal to 9 minus 5 is equal to 4. Now here length of B is equal to 4. So segment B is how much? Segment B is 4. Now let's check segment AD is 4 or not. If it is 4, that means they both are congruent. If it is not, that means they are not congruent. So let's check segment AD. So here we will put the coordinate of A is minus 3 and the coordinate of D is minus 7. So the coordinate of A is minus 3 and D is minus 7 respectively. Here, as you can see, minus 3 is smaller or minus 7 is smaller. Both are negative number. So here minus 3 is the greater number. Okay, माइनस में जो नंबर स्मॉलर है वो नंबर ग्रेटर है. ठीक है, जब दोनों के पास माइनस की साइन है, यहाँ पर भी -7 है और इसके पास भी -7, यहाँ पर -3 है और यहाँ पर -7 है, ये दोनों नंबर माइनस को कैरी कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, माइनस की साइन को, तो जो नंबर छोटा है वही नंबर ग्रेटर है. इज दैट क्लियर? So here we will put -3 is greater than -7. So we know that -3 is greater than -7. Now here length of, we are calculating here length of AD. So length of AD is equal to 3 minus sign we will put. 1 minus sign for A, 1 minus sign for D, and 1 minus sign is for calculating distance. So length of AD is equal to -3 minus bracket -7. So length of AD is equal to -3 minus -7. So -3 minus into minus give us plus, 7 का 7 लिखा है. Okay, after this plus into minus, minus 7 minus 3, positive 7, negative 3. 7 is greater than -3. Why? Because it carries positive sign. So 7 minus 3 plus into minus, minus. So 7 minus 3, 4. 7 minus 3, 4. Now here length of AD is 4 and length of B is equal to 4. They both are equal. See, both are equal. Length of B is 4 and length of AD is 4. So we can say that segment BE is congruent to segment AD. BE is congruent to segment AD. So here we will put, since length of AD is equal to length of BE, length of BE is equal to length of AD. So BE congruent to AD, segment BE congruent to AD. Why? Because they both are equal at 4 centimeter, at 4. Okay, so here both are equal. Why? Because the unit is 4. So here we will put length of BE is equal to length of AD. So segment BE is congruent to segment AD. Segment BE is congruent to segment AD. As you can see here, both are congruent. Why? Because both sides carry 4. So they both are congruent. So students, in this way we finish practice set 1.1, question number 1, all the 3 sub questions. Okay. So now let's solve question number 2 of the same practice set. Let's read question number 2. Here point M is the midpoint of segment AB. Here segment AB, point M is the midpoint. If AB is equal to 8, then find length of AM. If AB is equal to 8, then find length of AM. So first we have to make a line. First we have to draw here line AB, segment AB. Okay, here segment AB and M is the midpoint. Now if here AB is 8 centimeter, then what is the value of AM? If AB is segment AB is 8 centimeter, then AM is equal to length of AM is equal to how much? Simply half of 8 is, you are right, 4. So AM is equal to 4, but we have to show here steps. So first we will write here solution. And now we know that here we have length of AB is equal to 8. So here we will put length of AB is equal to 8. After this, since as you see here, M is the midpoint. So since M is the midpoint of this segment AB, since M is the midpoint of segment AB, then here length of AM, length we are calculating here length of AM. So how we will get this length of AM? So we will write here length of AM is equal to half of AB, half of AB. So length of AM is equal to half, 1 upon 2, half of AB. So half of length AB. The given value of length of AB is 8. So here we will put length of AM is equal to half of 8. So half into 8. So 2 ones are 2, 2 fours are 8. Half of 8 is how much? So 4. Half of 8 is 4. That means length of AM is equal to 4. So here we will write the length of AM is 4. So length of AM is 4. So students, in this way we finish sum number 2 of practice set 1.2. Now let's solve question number 3 of practice set 1.2. Now students, let's read and understand question number 3. Point P is the midpoint of segment CD. Here CD is segment and P is the midpoint of segment CD. So here if CP is 2.5, then calculate CD. That means CP is double of CD. CP is, I find how much CP is 2.5, then calculate CD. That means CD is double of CP. So if CP is 2.5, then CD is, you are right, CD is double of CP means 2.5 multiplied by 2 give us 5. 2.5 multiplied by 2 give us 5. So here we will write solution. We have CP is equal to 2.5. CP is equal to solution. CP is equal to 2.5. We have length of CP is 2.5. After this, we will write here since P is point P is the midpoint. Point P is the midpoint of segment CD. Okay. Then here length we have to calculate here length of CD. So length of CD is equal to, we are calculating here length of CD. Length of CD is equal to how much if CP is 2.5. So here we will put length of CP is equal to half multiplied by CD. Same like previous one. CP is equal to half multiplied by CD. So here we don't know the value of CD. Length of CD we don't know. So keep this length of CD on left hand side. But we know here length of CP. What is the value for length of CP? You are right, 2.5. Okay, so 2.5. Here the relationship is cross multiplication. Why? Because we know the value of CP. CP is 2.5. So 2.5 multiplied by 2. Okay. Now this CD we don't know. So keep this CD on left hand side. Okay. So CD, length of CD is equal to 2 multiplied by length of CP. So here 2 multiplied by CP value is 2.5. So 2 multiplied by 2.5 give us, yeah right, 5. So length of CD is equal to 5. So here we will write, so length of CD is equal to 5. Length of CD is 5. Is that clear? Now students, let's solve next question. Students, let's read and understand question number 4. If AB is equal to 5 centimeter, BP is equal to 2 centimeter and AP is equal to 3.4 centimeter. Compare the segments. Now students, this question is same like what I taught you before. here we have to compare the segment. We have to apply the comparisons of segment, okay, which I taught you before. Now here, what we will do here, first of all, first we have to write the given. So here what we have AB is equal to 5 centimeter, BP is equal to 2 centimeter, and AP is equal to 3.4 centimeter. So all the length we will put here. So length of AB is equal to 5 centimeter, length of BP is equal to 2 centimeter, and length of AP is equal to 3.4 centimeter. Okay. So solution after writing given, yes. After this we will put here. We know that here which number is greater. All three are positive number. So 5 is greater than 3.4 and 3.4 is greater than 2. Okay, 5 is greater than 3.4 and 3.4 is greater than 2. So here we will write, we know that 5 is greater than 3.4 and 3.4 is greater than 2. So here we know that 5 is greater than 3.4, 3.4 is greater than 2. Now here 5 is 5 is representing for length of AB. That means length of AB is 5 centimeter. That means here length of AB is greater than length of AP, and length of AP is greater than length of BP. So here we will put length of AB is greater than length of AP, and length of AP is greater than length of BP. Okay. That means here segment AB is greater than segment AP, and segment AP is greater than BP. Length is nothing but a segment. Length is nothing but a segment. Length is representing here segment. Okay, dear students. Now here we will put segment AB is greater than segment AP, and segment AP is greater than segment BP. Is that clear? In this way we finish the comparison of the segment. Okay. So here we have saw comparison of three segments, that is segment AB, segment BP, and segment AP. Which one is greater? AB is greater than AP. AP is greater than BP. Is that clear? So students, in this way we finish question number 4 of practice set 1.2.